Hey Exiles, PoE Academy here. You probably knew that the Ancestral Protector Totem grants a nice attack speed bonus to any melee build, but did you also know that it can almost double your melee damage with some tweaks? No? Well, it's quite easy. But before we start, if you want to find solid builds, step-by-step guides and all types of other PoE related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. With that out of the way, let's look at how melee builds can abuse Ancestral Protector. There are a few things that you can use to scale the attack speed bonus by Ancestral Protector. Most importantly, you should obtain the Phantasmal version of the skill gem, which costs around 60C at the time of recording this video. Phantasmal gives the gem increased buff effect for every % quality, and we are going to abuse this heavily. For example, with Ashes of the Star, you can give your Ancestral Protector up to 30% quality in addition to up to 23% quality from the gem itself, accounting for more than 50% buff effect. Later in Tier League, this amulet becomes very obtainable, and you can grab one for around 30C at the moment. We also use a helmet with the enchantment Ancestral Protector Totem grants 18% increased attack speed while active, which currently costs around 5C. It seems that this buff double dips, as the attack speed first gets increased by the buff effect from the Phantasmal Ancestral Protector, and then gets buffed indirectly from the more attack speed modifier of the skill as well. And we keep on buffing its effect. The Panopticon passive node in the duelist starting area grants another 50% buff effect for our totem. You can either path to it, but I recommend anointing it for cheap with 1 verdant, 1 indigo and 1 opalescent oil. As you can see in the example, my Ice Crash Juggernaut gets 50% more damage due to the setup. Just to put this into perspective, 50% more damage is the equivalent of 1 or 2 support gems in most builds, and all I had to pay for it was something like 100C. This is super cost efficient, and it's generic damage too, so you can use it in any melee attack build of your choice. Speaking of builds, do you think you will start abusing this setup? If you are playing any Marauder Ascendancy, that is Juggernaut, Berserker or Chieftain, you can get even more attack speed by implementing the Forbidden Flame and Flash Jewels for the Tukohama War's Herald Ascendancy passive from Chieftain. Very few builds actually use this node, but in our case it adds another 100% buff effect to the Protector Totem, which translates into 84% more damage for my Ice Crash Juggernaut build and is similar to adding 3 additional support gems. This is a tremendous damage buff, but you must also sacrifice 2 jewel sockets for it to work, and the required jewels are quite expensive at the moment. I couldn't find a suitable Forbidden Flash jewel at the time of recording this video, and a suitable Forbidden Flame jewel started at 4 exalted orbs, so better consider this setup as an endgame goal. Unfortunately, all the setups we've talked about don't work for Ancestral Warchief, you know, the melee damage version of the totem. However, if you decide to use the Panopticon Anoint, you can use both Ancestral totems at the same time. I mean, using both totems at the same time is a decent damage boost to melee attack builds in itself, but it also requires more micromanaging while playing the character because you have to keep an eye on 2 totems instead of 1. For my build, the damage buff from Ancestral Protector alone feels decent enough, so I rarely ever use Ancestral Warchief, but that's up to personal preference, I guess. Thanks for staying with me until the end, and see you in the next one.